Okay, this is cash budgets. This one's from the 2012 paper, question 9. So I've started by laying out the blank inflows and outflows with net cash, opening cash, etc. And I've got the guts of my trading profit and loss already laid out because I need a cash budget and the budget profit statement. So my sales, cash collection, 40% is media cash or discount, and then 60% will be credit customers. They will pay 50% of the month after sale, and the remaining the second month after sale. So that means that I probably will need an extra line. So I'm just going to insert an extra row in here. So I have cash, sales. Then I'm going to have 1 month debtors. Let's take that out. And 2 months debtors. So my sales is 520, so 520, put that in there, and 40% of that is cash and a discount of 5% to be allowed. 5% of 40, okay, is 2%. So that means I'm going to receive, of the 40%, I'm going to receive 38%. So multiply that by 0.38. So 60% is credit. So half of them, so that's 30%. So 520 again, times 30%. And then the same figure goes in 2 months later. I'll do the same for the following one. So 38% of 540, and then 540 times 30%, and then the same figure 1 month later. Then we have 610 here. Then we have, so 610, and then we have 610 here by 30%, and 610 by 30% again. 630. So that's again by 30% and the same figure there. Then we move on to November's figure. So 630. No, we've done 630. So this is 640 for November. And finally 660. So just looking to see what happens in the first couple of months, and when we read at the top of the question, it says they're planning a new store, okay, and this is for the first 6 months of trading. So there was no trading before, so those will be 0 in there. So outflows. So I'm going to have the credit supplier. So 50% of the month after purchase, 2% of cash discount received. 2% of 50 is 1. So that's 1%, which means we're going to receive 49% in 1 month. The month, 1 month, and then it will be 50% in the previous and the next month. So we have creditors. So creditors 1 month. That's going to be the 49%. And then 2 months is going to be the 50%. So purchases. I'm buying 220 and I'm not paying anything for it in the first month because I start paying in the second month. So it equals 220 multiplied by 49%. And 220 divided by 2 is 110. Then we have 240. I multiply that by 0.49. And half of 240 is 120. Then we have 270 and then half of 270 is 135, which is 1 month later. And we have 280. And then half of 280 is 140. And let's just check. I got that right, yeah. And then the next one then is 360. And nothing comes in here, and nothing comes in here. Okay, so let's see, the cash payments is, so we've done that. Expenses of the business will be, so wages is payable as incurred, so we have wages. Wages is 50 grand. So I'll just copy that and I'll paste that into all the other months. Variable overheads, €10 per unit payable as incurred. Now I'm assuming that this is €10 per unit that I'm going to sell, and how I would know, the only way I can work that out is because I've got a selling price of 50 per unit, and that will tell me the number of units. So what I'm going to do is these figures here, all of my sales figures, I'm going to divide it by 50, and then I'll multiply the figure by 10 per unit. So probably an easy way to do it is just divide all of them by 5. So first month is 520, divide that by 5, and then the next month I'll do the same. So that's 540 divided by 5, and then we have 610 divided by 5, 630, um, 640, and finally 660. So that's wages, variable overheads. Fixed overheads, including depreciation, 60 grand. So I need to work out my depreciation first before I can work that out. So I'll have to put that in. I need to work out my depreciation. So I notice here I'm buying equipment with estimated useful life of 5 years and no residual value. So I'm going to go down here to my profit statement. So the depreciation is going to be 54 grand, and I'll be dividing that by, I'm going to have it for 5 years, so that means I'm going to have it for 60 months, and then I'm going to need to multiply that by the number of months I'm going to have it. So it's going to be bought on the 1st of July, so that's the beginning of all of these 6 months, so I'm going to multiply that by 6 months, by 6. Okay, so that's not correct. 540, no, 54 grand, I put the wrong figure in there. So 5,400 is the depreciation. So the depreciation on a monthly basis, I might as well work that out. So it's 54 grand divided by 60 months, so 900. So I'm going to take 900 every month away from the fixed overheads of 60 grand a month. So it's 59,100. And that is fixed overheads per month. Yeah, that is a monthly figure. Just need to check it's not an annual figure or anything like that, because obviously we need to work on it then. Then we're going to take out a loan here to pay for this, and also we'll have to put in buying the equipment. And that happens at the beginning of July. Part financed by a loan of 48 grand, 6% per annum. So that's going to be an inflow. So loan. And I'm assuming that the loan happens on the same date. 48. So capital repayments repaid in 24 equal installments commencing 1st of August. The interest now 24 equal installments. Now it doesn't say are these installments quarterly, so I'm just going to assume that these installments are monthly. Commencing the 1st of August, the interest each month is paid on the last day of each month based on the amount of the loan outstanding on that date. So I'm going to have to do my repayment and interest as two separate things. So I borrow 54 grand, I'm going to spend, sorry, I borrow 48 grand, so I'm going to pay 24 equal installments, which is 2 grand a month. So it's going to start in August, so it's the second month. So pay 2 grand there, and I'll pay the same back each month after that. Now my interest. Just reading here, capital sums repaid. The interest for each month is to be paid on the last day of each month, based on the amount of loan outstanding at that date. So that means here I owe 48 grand, here I owe 46, here I owe etc. etc. So the interest here is going to be 48 grand. Now, the interest is 6% per annum. So 6% per annum, if I turn that into monthly, divide 6 by 12, I get 0.5. So I'm going to multiply the 48 grand that's owed by now, you have to be careful. If I said 0.5, that would be 50%. 0.05, it would be 5%, so it's 0.005. So it's 0.5 of a percent. So this figure here then is going to be 46 grand, so 2 grand would have been paid off, times 0.005. And then that's going to be 44 grand times 0.005, 42 grand times 0.005, 40 grand times 0.005, and obviously they're going down by 10 each time, so I know I can just put that in there as 190. And that is it. So I'll add up all of my inflows and etc. and finish all of it off. At this stage, I want to make sure that I don't kind of find that I get caught by time, so I'll leave the adding up for after. I'll just start putting in some of the numbers that are easy to put in without calculation. So I'll put in my opening cash first, which is 0. This is a brand new business. My sales, it's given to us in the question, 3.6 million. Opening stock, brand new business, opening stock is 0. Purchases, total of 1750. Now, so that means that's our goods available. Closing stock. So just quickly going back to sort out what our closing stock is, or when do we buy. So purchase paid month after purchase, the remaining purchase paid second month after. So it doesn't say anything about us buying in advance for next month's sales. So we're going to say closing stock is 0. Because it doesn't tell us that we're buying stuff to keep in stock. We're not buying stuff in advance that we're going to need for the following month. Just quickly checking, it doesn't say anything like that there. So that means that our gross profit is going to be 36, take away 1750. Other incomes, well, we will receive a discount. And that means there will be a discount allowed. Here. So how much discount are we getting? So I'm getting the 1% here for my first month. So remember it's 2% of 50%, which is 1%. So my total discount is of everything I'm buying, I'm going to be getting 1% discount. But when do I start paying? I pay 1 month after. So I'm going to be getting discount on, I'm going to get discounts of, and I get the discount only when I pay. So if I go up here, I'm making a payment here, 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 and here. So I won't be making any payment for the purchases that I make in December. So it's going to be all of my purchases up to November and not including December. So my discount received is going to be the 1750, take away my December, which is 380, and I multiply that number by 0.01. That's 1%, yeah. So my discount allowed, I was getting 2% of my total sales, and that's just for the cash sales, so that's going to be a little bit easier. So it's the 3,600, that's 3.6 million times 0.2. The other expenses, we're going to have wages, which is 50 grand times 6 months. Fixed overheads, so the fixed overheads is 59,100 multiplied by 6 months. Variable overheads, so variable overheads is going to be all of the numbers that I added above. So from this 104 along to the 132, and then we have interest. Again, I'll just add along the line from this number all the way down to that, and that's everything. So just checking wages, variable overheads, fixed overhead, and we have our depreciation put in. So now I can finish this one off, and then I'll go back and finish the rest of the document. So according to that, we're making a loss. That does sound, yeah, there's my mistake. That should be 0.02 for 2%. Yeah, okay. It's always a useful idea sometimes to go back and have a quick look at your numbers. That discount allowed looked far bigger than the discount received, so maybe think I must have made a mistake with my maths, and the rest looks okay. So back up to finish off my budget. So I add everything here from there down and including my loan, and then I'm going to copy that and I'll paste that into the same all the way along here, and I'm going to do something similar here. So add up all of my outflows down including my interest, copy that and paste that in, so I total everything. So net cash then is going to be the total inflows, take away the total outflows. That looks right. Let's quickly check it now. Again, I'm looking here at mistakes in numbers. These numbers here all look very similar. That number looks to me very big, and when I go and look at the formula above, I realize I've made a mistake. I've got an extra 0 in there that I shouldn't have. And again, how I spotted that was when I started looking at my maths. You got to look at your numbers and say, hold on a second, the number I had down there was way, way out. It was over 1 million, and that doesn't sound logical. So that's how I work out my net cash for that one. And again, you look along and take them all away, and there. And then our closing cash is going to be that out together, and then the opening cash for the next month is going to be the same figure. Okay, so that's it. I hope that makes logical sense the way you do it. Notice as we're going through it, if you get a number that seems well out of whack with the other numbers, well then there must be a mistake with your maths. If you have a chance to do it, fix it, grand, but if not, maybe even just leave a note beside it how you calculate it. Second thing is this bit here, the total at the end, adding everything up. It's easy for me to do it on a computer, but it takes quite a while. So I wouldn't do this adding up unless you've got the time at the end, which you may not necessarily do.